Prepare yourself for a sprawling discussion on just about anything, where critical thinking meets pop culture in a collision of mind-bending proportions. Please secure all neurons and prepare for full frontal cortex. It's time for Incoherent Ramblings.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Incoherent Ramblings podcast. We're at Ramble 01010. Yes, we've made it to 10.
Yay! 10 podcasts.
That's the count. Anyway, so yes, we are going to be talking about phobias today. We've carefully researched and planned for this topic, so this should be very, very good episode about phobias. What scares you? But more importantly, what really scares you so much it's almost a mental deficiency. And so that's the definition of a phobia. Yeah. So today's episode is brought to you by, we thought this was appropriate, Transformers, Fall of Cybertron, Kickback, who's a giant insect, bzz, ooh, scary, bzz, and Transformers Prime Hard Shell, which is based on Bombshell, but yeah, anyway. Wow. So yeah, we got two sponsors today, woo, and we just ate some pizza.
Kickback just sounds like he's hanging with his homies.
I might be saying that. I was like, Kickback, I think it's Kickback, yeah.
Yo,
it's not Quick Kick. Quick Kick's G.I. Joe.
Right.
Yeah, we ate some Pizza Hut, and we're trying to get them to be our official sponsor.
That's a great way to get a sponsor.
I didn't see the name of the delivery guy. Big shout out to the delivery guy. I didn't see your name, but he's a Firefly fan, so yay! Anyway, so talk to your boss to see if we can get to
Pizza Hut. Make it great.
If you
now they're going to be our sponsor.
So Pizza Guy, if you become a fan, a listener, you'll be number 4. You might be. What did you say earlier? We're getting very excited that our listener base might actually exceed the amount of people in our
podcast.
Yes.
Yeah. Go team! Okay, so phobias. Oh, but let's do introductions. So I'm Joey Schammel. We've also got
Paul Hottinger,
Kail Anderson,
Daryl Jors,
and over a slightly delayed line we have Booger.
Booger.
Yes, Booger Magallanes. Booger Magallanes is with us.
Wow.
Hey, it's the only reason I can spell your last name. He's with us.
Bowling alley.
He's over a cell phone, so he might be a little delayed, like in those. There's apparently
I think there's an ambulance coming to get him.
They're coming to get him.
Booger down! Booger down!
They found him.
I don't know how, but they found him. Run for it, Booger!
Dude, who called the...
Who do you think? They're coming to take him away. Ha-ha. They're coming to take him away. Ho-ho.
Holy
It's funny farm.
Okay, so let's start with our phobias. First thing I want to talk about is we need a little introduction here. Let's talk a little bit about what's phobias and fears. I mean, they're kind of the same thing, but let's go around. What's your view on what a phobia is and what a fear is? How do you see it as different? Anybody want to start off?
Well, I can go. Well, I'm sorry. Did I just interrupt somebody?
No, you're good.
No, you're good. Go, Booger.
Don't worry about it. We'll stop for you. It's good.
Okay. I figured I might as well start off since the idea was mine to discuss phobias. I figured a phobia was different from a fear because a fear is just something you're simply afraid of, where a phobia is supposed to be considered an irrational fear. So I wondered, what makes a fear irrational? I did a little thinking about it over the years, and to me, an irrational fear is something that, in and of itself, can truly not bring any harm. As an example, clowns. My wife is incredibly afraid of clowns.
I thought you were going to say you're afraid of your wife.
Because your wife, the distinction there is his wife actually could hurt him.
That's not a phobia to be afraid of your wife.
Well, a clown. I mean, unless you're watching the movie Poltergeist, a clown in and of itself will not hurt you. But however, a clown shooting at you with a knife intends to hurt you.
A clown.
He's something to be afraid of.
Okay, you did say clown,
So
right?
That's what I figured.
Okay, it sounded like you said
Clown.
clone.
Not clone.
Because a clone will hurt you. We've seen Attack of the Clones.
The Clown Wars.
The clown.
Oh, one of my dad's favorite movies was Attack of the Killer Clowns from Outer Space. That was awesome.
Oh,
What
yeah.
about Stephen King's It?
Yeah, that was
I've read the book.
Here's the
Yeah,
thing.
there you go.
clown.
I agree with Booger 100% about the irrational fear thing, and I think what defines it as irrational is it's not that a clown could never hurt you, it's just that it'd be unusual for a clown to hurt you, and it would be no more likely than a regular person not in clown makeup hurting you. So why would you be more afraid of someone in clown makeup versus any other ordinary person?
But
I understand that, but I totally think that for me, what pushes it into that.
Put her down. All right, I'm going to redial him.
Okay,
well,
anyway,
there we go.
While
we're going to get tone and everything. This is great. Continue.
All right, anyway, is that when it would be a phobia if it starts to interfere with your life. You know,
Don't worry,
Please leave your message for 91067053499.
Yes.
Hi, Booger.
Is
This
Rob-
is the CVS pharmacy. We have your anal cream ready. You may pick it up anytime after 8 p.m. tomorrow. And also, don't worry, the test came in negative, and the ball herpes are gone.
So laughing gives it away.
Thank you.
oh,
God.
holy crap.
Maybe we should just like do a radio show and call people. This is pretty
Ball
fun.
herpes.
Random call.
We just called one of our panelists. What is up with us? This is wrong.
No, it's not. It's phobia.
And if you leave your phone number on our message board, we'll crank call you.
Yes, we will.
Oh, that's like our prize.
Yeah.
If you win a contest,
Yeah.
you totally crank call.
We'll use your name and everything.
All right, so
We'll try not to
So
laugh
yeah,
at-
I agree with Kail.
we should probably just wait till he calls back, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe. Okay.
Let's give it a few minutes. See what happens.
Give it a
So,
minute.
Kail, I want you to say yours again because I wanted to add on to that.
Well, I was just saying that I think when your fears start to interfere with your life, then it's a phobia.
I kind of think that I think that's more accurate because I kind of believe that most fears are actually irrational. If you think about it, a lot of the things that we're afraid of really have no basis in reality anymore. I mean, like a fear of a lion. Yes, that is something to be afraid of. But if you're scared of a lion when it's behind bars or something
Or
like
on
that,
the TV.
or on the TV or something like that, I mean, oh, yay.
Yeah. All right. Oh, that went away.
Oh.
All right.
That happens to me all the time, Daryl. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I know. It might take a while to get
Hi,
my
this is
booger
CVS
back.
pharmacy for Daryl Jordan.
He should crank us back. That would be the best.
Oh, my God, that was great.
Maybe we should use someone else's phone if there's.
Yeah,
because
sure.
mine's just going down to 0 bars now.
That's just fine.
Okay.
Wait.
Do you
I don't know if I
All right.
have his number
Do you
though.
have his number in there? Okay, I'll give it to you though.
Maybe we
Where's
should
your
like
phone?
pause or something. You know, we can pause, can't we?
We can.
Are
we doing it?
There's a pause button.
Commit to the pause.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay,
That was
so to review, basically, Kail is saying that a phobia is really when a fear impacts your life in such a way that you can't function normally. And I thought that was a better concept of a phobia because so many fears that we have today are really irrational because they're based on things that we don't need to be scared of anymore. So I think that most fears are actually irrational. Not all of them, obviously, but I think a lot of them are. So I think phobias go beyond even irrational fears to what Kail said, which is a fear is so powerful that it can affect how you are in life, such as if you are scared, just as a personal example, my wife is scared of spiders, to the point where if there's a spider anywhere near her, she cannot function normally. She will freak out. Like, I'm always scared she's going to see a spider in the car when she's driving because she won't be able to drive. Like, that's how much they freak her out.
Yeah, that would be
But
bad.
then again, that's balanced against the real, threat that a spider does pose to you. You can't always identify a spider as being poisonous or benign right off the bat.
But it doesn't matter.
But it's not. That's
I
the
know
thing.
it doesn't
That's
matter.
that's what I would say that perhaps. Thank you, Paul. I would perhaps say that you smacked my ass.
I whipped my cord on him.
I would perhaps say that a phobia is maybe the most irrational fears that.
They're incapacitating.
Yes.
Ends up being a disorder.
Yeah, stops you from living a normal life.
Well, it's a form of
Or
anxiety disorder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, where do these phobias come from? I once heard that a lot of times it's when something is introduced to you as a child. If the reaction is something that's not normal or extreme, it can actually be what causes the phobia.
Well, someone's Windows was pretty happy. So I'll mention one thing that this is, if that theory is true, it's something that writers use sometimes. And since we were bringing up Firefly a little while ago, one of the things they said about making the Reavers really threatening in the commentary was Joss Whedon said, okay, what you need to do is have your characters who are stalwarts and people look up to them already. They react with fear the moment someone mentions Reavers. And that was setting the stage for the Reavers to be super menacing.
Right.
So it's kind of like creating a phobia of the Reavers in the viewer's mind.
Right,
Yeah.
and because we learn from other people, and especially as a child, we copy what we see. That's what the brain is all about when you're a kid. So if you see somebody who freaks out at something that's normal, your brain kind of goes, oh, that's the way it's supposed
And
to go.
especially if all of these adults around you are reacting to something frightfully, and you're the little one, and you're already looking up to them as being the most powerful people you know, and they freak out because the IRS person showed up at the door. Then you have your tax collector phobia. You know?
Yeah.
So
Well, that's like
Taxobia.
I'm not quite sure if it's a full phobia, but like my little cousin, she's 8th grade now, so it's at 13, 14 years old. Growing up, like we'd go to Disneyland and stuff, and her parents would put in her mind how scary like the Haunted Mansion would be. Like, are you sure you want to go in here? There's a lot of ghosts. It might be scary. They pop out, and now she's like scared of like roller coasters and rides. Like we really have to pump her up in order to go on it. And she gets older, she's getting braver and braver. But where I have my 4-year-old going on Thunder Mountain, she won't even touch it.
right.
And it could also have to do with experience, because I
Logan's
remember...
a daredevil.
I remember...
There's no fear.
I remember that...
That's my phobia.
You're scared of Daredevil?
By the way, Shirley mentioned that
Or Ben Affleck.
there's a new addition to the family too. So
Oh my god, we completely
Just-
forgot.
yeah.
Paul Hottinger has had another child.
Yes. Well, my wife did.
Well, yes, not Paul.
But I was the father.
And he saw things.
So I've seen Connor spelled a couple different ways. How
It's
is it?
CONNOR.
O-R. Okay.
O-R.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I saw people
Paul,
go ER.
I've been meaning to ask Paul.
Little
I
con
figured
artist.
Logan, the name Logan of your first came from Logan's Run, but did you name the second one Connor because it was a boy and really couldn't name it Sarah?
No.
Or Sean Connery was already taken.
Everybody asked me, is that John Connor? I'm like, no. Actually, his name is actually my
Connor
grandma's,
McLeod.
and her side of the family, her maiden name is Connor. So she was Claire Connor, and
Awesome.
all them.
Well, let's put in some canned applause for Paul.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
No. I meant Daryl can edit.
Yeah.
Darn, I'm gonna have to keep a list as we go. So I
Give
know
a
what
cheer,
it is.
yay!
Hey.
Which means we're side. All right, there
All
we
right,
go.
thanks. Yeah.
Okay,
you,
so
Paul.
back to phobias after talking about your kid. I'm sure you have a fear of stomachs now. And
Okay, we have to kind of explain.
no, we don't have. Okay.
C-section.
Yeah, my
Stomach
wife had a
came out.
C-section. They pulled the afterbirth out. Looked like a giant McRib.
End of story.
Okay.
So you have a McRib phobia.
All right.
I
But
wanted
there's
to barbecue it.
when I went on. What I was trying to say before all this was, when I went on the Haunted Mansion as a kid, I was scared because there was this one room where things popped out and startled you. I hated that room, and it mainly had to do with the fact that things startled you. So I think that's another way phobias happen is if you have a traumatic experience while being shown something, or can't think of the word, but you're involved in something that is
Experience it.
not. Yeah, well, that would have been repeating myself. But yes.
But this is the age-old nature versus nurture argument. And
Yeah.
Who knows how much of it we're just born with a predisposition, and maybe some of it's genetic.
Well, yeah, like my wife's mom hates snakes. She's very scared of snakes, but she's not scared of spiders like my wife is.
And
So
she was related to Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones. Yeah.
yeah, my dad was also scared of snakes, and I don't care for spiders more. Maybe that's the genetic thing.
Yeah. Well, that's like my mom. She's afraid of elevators, and I think it was my dad who a long time ago got the elevator stuck. I don't know if he was messing around with it or whatever. And she will not touch an elevator.
Wow, and she won't even go on one?
She will not go
Wow.
on
My
one.
mom has.
She'll take the stairs up however many flights.
Wow.
My mom has
Not take it.
always said that she has claustrophobia, and she identifies it with a time that she got stuck in an elevator. So enclosed spaces are just a big no-no for her. She feels trapped.
Did you ever almost fall off a ride at Disneyland, or was that just a story everybody told at elementary school?
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
It
It was the Matterhorn.
It was the Matterhorn. Okay.
What'd you do? Unbuckle yourself?
We didn't get buckled correctly in the first place, and I guess back then the ride ops didn't go checking everyone before they departed. And my brother was sitting ahead of us, and he kept telling my mom, like, "Look, it straps in this way," and she's like, "Oh no, I understand how to do it." And it wound up basically the ride took off, and we weren't strapped in at all.
Oh, dude.
So like when we were going around corners and like some of those bumps and stuff, I was like sitting in front of my mom, and I was starting to fly out of the seat.
Man.
But I still love thrill rides despite that. I mean, it was scary and frightening, but I realized that was a special case. You know, I wasn't strapped in appropriately, so I make sure.
But they categorize as a fear.
But giant white,
right? But not a fear anymore.
But giant white furry things scare the crap out of you.
They do.
Old man pubes.
That scares everybody.
No, that's just the ball herpes.
So, Booger, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Just checking.
Quiet, Booger.
But Booger, what about you? Well, where do you think phobias come from?
I honestly believe that when it comes to like the nature versus nurture, it's more off of a learned type of experience. Mainly, I say that mainly because of the particular phobias I find that I have. And there's nothing I can think of that I've been predisposed to, except from just experiences that I've garnered. And I have yet to see anyone. I mean, I know you described, for example, your wife and your mother-in-law. I just can't help but think that there's too many potential variables there to create that aside from genetics. So I'm not saying it's impossible by any stretch, but if someone held a gun to my head and said pick, I would pick. It would be something that's learned. So it's definitely going to be a life experience, most likely from a young child, since that's where most such phobias come from.
Well, let's move on from there, actually, if everyone's okay with it, to personal experiences. Why don't we start with you, Booger? You're saying about your personal phobias. Do you have any personal phobias or any that you're familiar with or know anything about?
Absolutely. One particular phobia I have is, I don't know what the proper name of it or the technical name is, but of dead things. The larger the dead thing, the more terrified I am of it.
Necrophobia?
For example, when I was in college out in Oklahoma, I was living with my wife a little before we were married. I was staying in the same trailer she was renting.
And that's not a joke, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, go ahead.
The trailer had mice, and we set up mouse traps. And it caught one, and I said, "No, I'll take care of it. Don't worry." I literally sat there for no less than 30 minutes staring at this thing, trying to screw my courage to get it into the trash. And I literally had to get one of those cardboard rolls from wrapping paper to push it into the trash.
I got this picture of you.
I got to see it, yeah.
Every time the cardboard roll would touch the body, it would make me shiver. Oh, God.
It's going to attack you.
I can see they're poking it with a stick.
Were you afraid it's going to zombie you and come after you?
Dude, you would have a hard time at the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
I would be an absolute mess.
Just bite me.
The zombie apocalypse came. I would be one of the first to die just from curling up in a fetal position.
But would it make a difference to you if they were animated again? Because that's not the same as being dead anymore.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
That is exactly what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of either them coming back to life or never actually being dead to begin with.
Yeah. Then he could actually become afraid of himself if he became a zombie.
When my mom passed away and we had the funeral,
Self-phobia.
It was all I could do to step up in front, because they asked me to step up and say a few words, and it was a closed casket. It was it wasn't really even your fancy casket with a lid. It was just like a particle board box that was nailed shut.
I remember your fancy casket, Joey.
We got damn fancy kind
with a lid.
I used that Ziploc thing.
I was standing up there shivering as I spoke to everyone, of course in tears, but I was terrified of my own mother's body behind me. And so, I mean, I can only imagine what it's going to be like when, if I outlive my wife or anybody else that I care about. I don't know what the heck I'm going to do. But yes, the larger the body or the carcass, the more terrified I definitely am, because I'm afraid it's going to. And when I hear stories of people, dead people, bending up, belching, and then falling back down from muscle spasm, it just makes me turn inside out just hearing the story.
So Booger, don't go to the beach, because if a whale pops up, you're screwed.
It made me think about No, maybe he's thinking about that beached whale video where they dynamite it.
Oh,
Where the pieces are gonna. Well, when you said the bigger the carcass, the more afraid you are. I'm like,
A blue
oh my god,
whale would be the worst
that would
of
mess
all.
you up.
Yeah.
I have, unfortunately, I've seen that one. But the reason I bring that one up is because I know exactly where my phobia came from.
Ooh, okay.
When I was a very, very young child, my father, my mother and the father got divorced when I was about 4 or 5 years old, and my father liked to have, I don't think he was going out on dates or something. I don't really know, but I just know at night he would take me. I was about 5 or 6 years old to go stay with a particular aunt and uncle who had a few cousins of mine about my age, and they absolutely loved to watch Elvira.
Oh.
And I was. Yeah, and so I would sit there watching these scary movies, and then when the movie was over, they tell scary stories because they saw me terrified, and they would purposefully make me more scared, and it always involved something dying or dead, and I strongly believe is where my phobia came from. I was always afraid of them coming back and getting me.
But thank your stars you didn't develop a breast phobia, because that would be worse.
Especially from.
Yeah.
I am very thankful of that, yeah.
So anybody else got any personal phobias or stories?
Well, I want to just ask about like how we're going to present things, because I think also ideas or thoughts of how to deal with the phobia are going to be important. But do we want to just like hit all these again later on?
You know what? That's a good idea. Let's do this. Let's talk about types of phobias after this, and then we'll, instead of going into irrational fears, let's talk about how to deal with them, because I think that's a brilliant.
So do you
idea.
want him to start, or we're going to save it?
No, we'll save it until we talk about afterwards.
Okay.
I think we should talk about types of phobias first, and then we'll talk about it.
So,
So phobias. Anybody else
Types
have something
that
they want
we-
to share? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
Okay,
You're
I don't have any huge phobias. I don't like spiders too much. It's kind of like my wife, which, strangely enough, since I've been with her, my kind of phobia of spiders has become a lot stronger. Like, just being around her and knowing she gets freaked out by spiders makes me a little bit more freaked out by spiders. So that's interesting.
Influence you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very so right there you can see it's a little influential. But I'd have to say that I've got a social anxiety disorder, so I have kind of a phobia for people. But I'm not like, oh my god, people! Ah, they're all around me. Oh my god! No, it's not that. No, don't touch me.
Touch you.
But there is one that I think might be a phobia if it was a little stronger. The idea of the Pacific Ocean. The way it drops down here in California is it goes out for a little bit and then it like drops straight down, like miles down, and that kind of freaks me out a little bit. That thought of just that empty nothingness that goes down for miles,
Like underneath you, you mean?
if I was up there,
Sinking?
just sinking, or just being over it, being able to fall into that nothingness. I would say it's not enough that I wouldn't go on a boat or anything, so it's not really a strong phobia, but there's something there that kind of freaks me out, and I have no connection to why it does that.
Do you ever stare at at the beach at night? Do you ever stare at the horizon and imagine all the stars starting to get blacked out by a giant tsunami approaching?
No, but now I will.
All right, cool.
Holy
Now
crap.
you can really be focused.
No, I know what tsunamis look like now. And
I know, but
Yeah.
still.
I wouldn't see it coming. I just see the water.
It's
go
one of
out.
those things,
Yeah.
though, that if you play it out in your head, you
Bunch of
imagine
trash.
how scary it would be.
Yeah, I did kind of that part on the movie Big Meteor. Different
Armageddon?
Different stories, though. Other one.
Impact.
Deep
Impact.
Deep
Yeah.
Impact.
Oh, that version.
Where she's standing.
Yeah.
where,
Wait, she's standing.
Porno.
where they're standing at the ocean and the
thought it was
water
deep
comes. Like,
implants.
I'd have to. Deep implants.
I like that.
Well, there's also that photo of that guy in Japan who's just facing the big tidal wave.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Uh-oh, we're getting a little bit of...
Oh, turn my phone off.
Phone static. No,
Wait,
I'm
can't
afraid
do that.
you can't do that. All right.
Paul, you were going to say you had kind of a phobia?
Yeah. I had for a while. Maybe it was medication that fixed it. I don't know. But
We're going to move him further away.
he's still there?
Sorry.
Yeah, Booger's there. Hi, Booger. Oh, crap.
What did you say?
Just making sure you're still there.
Every once in a while,
So,
just
continue, Paul.
choose
I'll try to
something.
be quiet.
Okay.
So, Booger, have to move your phone a little further away.
Booger, I
I hope
want you
you'll
to-
still be
I
able
want
to
you to-
hear us.
Okay.
Okay, whatever he just told you, he was really excited to tell you that. So
Okay, he's telling you.
Project.
Okay.
Project.
But I had to move away. Why is it in between your legs now, though? I don't.
Yeah, I don't know. Vibrate. So for a while, I really had like an anxiety of traveling far in a car. Like, if I was to go somewhere, like even like a 20-30 minute ride, I would have the fear of if I had to go to the bathroom, and what would happen if I got sick. And it would stop me from going from some places, and I would just get real nervous and stuff. I'd get all like sweaty and all that.
Is that like when we used to travel? Like go camping and stuff?
It was after that.
Oh, it was after that.
And I think where it came from...
Dude, did we cause it? Oh my god.
No, well, sort of.
Oh.
I scared him.
I think what it came from... Because it'd be like going to a luncheon at work. Like, hey, we're going to go to BJ's or whatever. All right, BJ's.
You're like, I'm in!
But we'd go, and then I would think about, okay, all right, it's only this amount of far to go and whatever. But I still remember we were going to Big Sur, and we stopped at Shamble Park.
Yeah.
Right? And eating all those Goober sandwiches.
Yeah.
And then going up Highway 1.
All right.
And I was riding with Daryl, and I had to take the biggest dump. And there was nowhere to stop.
Oh.
That did it?
No, I don't know if that did it, but I still remember doing that, and I don't know if that did it.
I'm sorry, I meant to pack the Ziploc bags, but
no, that didn't bother me.
That didn't bother. No, Paul was up there. If we had phones, you would have been filming it.
Yeah, and I'm like, don't we go out there and make noise and stuff? Oh no, it would be quiet.
So wait a sec. So, but you're better now?
I'm better now.
Because I think it's very interesting because that's I think where you draw the line is we got to see what's phobia and what's anxiety, because it's like with my social anxiety, it's not really a phobia, I think, because I think phobias maybe are more extreme, but anxieties also affect you, so you can't live your life normal.
It'd be more of an anxiety because I've taken anxiety medication.
Yeah.
And I feel
that's
smoother.
Same with me, yeah.
So it's
more like Lando.
More like Lando, yeah. Because we'd even be traveling like to Disneyland, and if I wasn't driving, like not in control of the car, it's like just the way it's moving stuff, I would just think, okay, what if I go to the what if I had to go to the bathroom, and it'd get a stomach ache out of it and stuff.
So it looks like it was Daryl's fault. Why didn't you pull over, man?
There was nowhere to pull over.
How did that end? I don't remember.
That's on that big stretch of the fight where there's nothing.
Oh yeah.
So like he'd have been like pooping on a cornfield.
No, I made it to the campsite.
Not that there's cornfields out there, but alfalfa.
But it was it was crazy.
Go squat the alfalfa.
I still remember that feeling. Driving and stuff.
I probably had an empty box of Cracklin oat Bran I could offer to you. I could have used this.
I do seem to remember there was a time where Joe needed to pee really bad and he was going to pee in a bottle, but
we
pulled over and found
to do it.
We pulled over and found the devil's churn. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, he made it churn all right.
Yeah. Okay. So other phobias. Kail, Daryl. Oh wait, Daryl, let me hit you.
Okay, yeah, I'll
go for it.
So I have a few kind of phobia-ish things. I've always been a bit afraid of heights, but then again, I'm more afraid of falling and hurting myself than anything else. But I know it feels a little bit. It feels a little bit out of control sometimes because if I'm going up a ladder or something, I'll feel like if I step on the next rung, it might break and then I would injure myself. Even if it's the sturdiest ladder in the universe, I know that that's not a possibility. It still kind of crosses my mind.
What if you feel secure? What if you feel secure? Like you're standing like like a glass.
Right. If I feel pretty secure, I can deal with it. But that's the thing, though. I've kind of worked on it to get to a certain point. So I guess we could talk about that part of it later. Another one is big insects. And again, it's the irrational thing. It's kind of like the spider thing. I would be afraid of a giant spider also. But like the thought of... I know when I was a kid I used to play around with a lot of bugs and things, but I know when I was in my teens one time a grasshopper landed on my arm and it nearly freaked me out. And I know a grasshopper's not going to hurt me, but it's just that it's so big that I can see the segments, and I just imagine getting pinched in there somewhere or something. I just feel like insects are going to harm me in some way.
You would have freaked out. I went out in Florida. I went on one of those fan boat? Yeah, and we went through like this thing of grass, and there were just all these huge bugs that just were all over us. They were like all over us, and we were like, ah!
Yeah, like that scene in the second Raiders movie.
Right, it was kind of like that. It was like these big Florida bog bugs. They were just all over.
I wouldn't be able to I think about like the actors in that situation too, because they used real stick bugs and stuff. I'm like, no. I would have to psych myself up so bad for that. In fact, there's one episode of Mythbusters where they work on each other's phobias. And Grant's one
with the spiders. Oh my god! Yeah,
so they put Grant's head in like an aquarium.
That freaks me out too.
And they put all these
Spider.
giant tarantulas in there. With
Not the
them,
really
they
big ones,
crawl-
but they were like ones that go kind of fast.
Yeah.
So they move around a lot, and they're big.
and they crawl all over his head.
My God.
I felt so bad for him in that situation.
That's one that would. Oh,
yeah, that's
for me. That's
empathy right there. I'm right there with you, Joey. Yeah, I felt bad.
But strangely, I could probably do that with like cockroaches or something. It'd be gross, but it wouldn't bug me. Spiders, for some reason, just. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the big insect things is one of those things I need to work on more. But another one that I've accomplished a lot more getting over it is an earthquake phobia, and I'll go into that in more detail later.
Okay.
So,
Kaylee, got anything you want to add to us?
Not really. I really don't have any phobia.
Scared of nothing.
No,
I ain't no pussy.
I'm scared of lots of stuff, but it's like you'd think that maybe you'd be afraid of sharks, but I've had sharks swim over me, and I just watched them, so I'm afraid of sharks.
Over you?
But only if they're going to attack me.
Right. We're talking about phobias. You don't have anything that you can.
So maybe,
Well, not really.
just
I
fear.
remember once that I thought I was afraid of bees. And I went over and grabbed one, and it stung me.
So you. I think I'm afraid of that. Let me grab it. Nope, I'm not afraid of it.
Well, see.
So Kail, oh my God.
Anyway, that's
I have a bit of a.
I made you sound dumb there. I was trying to make you sound.
No.
I was trying to make you sound brave. I'm sorry. I don't know why the dumb
that
voice.
was pretty dumb to grab hold of a bee.
But I know. But I was trying to be like. Da-da-da.
Well, I think that some experiences I've had getting stung by bees is part of why I'm a little phobic, because I've had some real bad breakouts from being stung by a bee, and then I realized that it could potentially be life-threatening. And then that kind of
not
translated
being
into
phobia,
being
that's
afraid
like-
of all insects, though. But I mean, you see, I'm afraid of more than
Yeah.
just bees, though. That's the problem.
I've never been stung by a bee.
that's life.
And
I don't know.
I remember like hanging off of a kayak that after I overturned it in the Pacific, going.
It overturned it.
It overturned it, and I'm hanging there like
He's
not
afraid of
able to
past
get
tense.
back on because the life vest was getting hung up on the side of the boat, and I'm just going like I'm here dangling with my feet out like I'm some floundering fish, and there's going to be a shark come up and eat my toes off. But then again, I wasn't super scared of that. It just crossed my mind.
I'm
So
always
there's this
scared of
division
jellyfish at
between-
the beach.
Oh,
Just being
yeah.
in there and just
yeah.
having it
Yeah,
sting
because you don't want to be peed on.
Fear.
Fear.
That's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of fear.
And you know that-
that's why I go attack it whenever I'm afraid of
Winston
something.
Churchill.
But remember, fear leads to hate. Hate leads to anger.
Yeah.
Anger leads to
It's
suffering.
suffering.
And nobody wants to suffer.
No.
So, the whole bee sting thing reminded me. Eddie, who hopefully will be on one of our future podcasts, was once, we were camping with him, and the first time he got stung by a wasp or whatever.
And a Gallimimus chased him. that was
No,
something else.
there's these little wasp bee things. He's like, don't worry, they don't sting. He's picking them up, throw them away, and then he picks one up. He's like, it stung me. Oh, that was fun.
Oh, what a guy.
Let's talk about fears then. Now that we've all kind of shared, let's talk about some of the ones that are out there. Because there are a lot of phobias out there, and these are, things that people are really scared of.
I think you could be afraid of just about anything.
I guess you could. I mean, if you think about it. So we'll talk about
what are the
body-
major ones?
Well,
that
it's-
the majority
It's
of people are
situational
scared
with
of.
fear. It's not. You can be afraid. Like I'm afraid of not afraid of heights. But if I'm about to fall off a ladder, I suddenly become fearful of it.
I think there's a point where your brain takes it from irrational rational. And I think what we're talking
It's like
about...
into survival mode or
yeah,
something.
I think we're talking about more about the irrational things that inhibit your normal living.
Well, also, I think you can, like we were talking about imprinting before, like someone when they're young having an experience. That's a pivotal part of Brave New World is that they imprint on everyone that, like they would make you have like a sex phobia as a child. Like they would train you to be afraid of that, so that you would be, part of society and not reproduce when you're not supposed to, that kind of thing.
Yep.
So that I kind of see that just if we're gonna say that it is a nurture thing, that you can develop a fear of practically anything.
Agreed.
I think you might have like with most things, a predisposition. Some people might have more of a predisposition to be afraid of water than say most other people.
Well, it's like the
That's
fear
like
of
Joe's
flying.
phobia, right?
What?
Like the fear of flying.
Well,
I could go flying stuff, but I
Well-
know people who will not go on a plane because they're like, well, what if it crashes?
Yeah.
But you'll drive the freeway every day back and forth in L.A.
And that's part of a
Well,
control
Linda was
issue,
fine
too.
with planes until after
Yeah.
9/11. That's where now she's more of afraid.
I'm glad Joey brought up the control issue thing too, because I think Kail, you were saying jokingly that you're afraid of fear, But also, I think phobias themselves are a little frightening because they're a lack of control.
Yeah.
And everybody has a fear, at least so far as I know, unless we find some weird case study. But I think that, like, everyone fears that, having a lack of control in their
Except
life.
Ben Affleck.
Really? Why is that?
No.
Okay.
I thought it was serious. Really?
I said that too serious, didn't I?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I thought maybe he played a role in some movie or something.
He was a
where
daredevil.
That
Damn
just
it.
came out of some odd left field, I gotta admit.
All right, go ahead.
That was like my Kevin Spacey from a few episodes back.
Yeah,
Just out of nowhere. Kevin Spacey.
All right, go ahead, Daryl. Continue.
No, that was really the point there is I think that there are probably, this would be a good research topic, but there might be some disorders that you can have, mental disorders that make you not afraid of control. But I think if you're normally functioning, you're going to have a healthy respect, if not a fear, for lack of control.
Well, imagine if...
Yeah, okay. I agree with that because I think what differentiates a phobia and maybe fear, how we're defining it right here, is not having the phobia, like you say, is understanding that having uncontrollability on your life or whatever it is okay because it's not forever. It's not going to change your life completely.
Right, and it depends, like, what you have the ability to control and what you...
Oh, sorry.
What you don't have...
I'm right here, baby.
What do you have the ability to control and what you don't? Well, let's say you're afraid of being stranded and you're in, like, a motorboat. And...
Different motorboat.
And so let's say the motor goes dead. Hook her up and get going again. However, there's a possibility that you don't know how to fix the motorboat. And if that's the case, then you're going to be stuck out there and you're going to be afraid.
Because it's dead.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think control has a lot to do with it. Let's talk about the fear of spiders, bugs, snakes, and other animals.
Well played.
Oh, we lost
Again.
I got a fear of cellular towers.
I'm starting to develop one now.
Oh my God.
Why don't we? Maybe it's a good time to just...
Yeah. And so, Booger, go ahead.
Oh, we're leaving a message for Booger again.
Oh, this is CVS again.
You'll never know.
Okay, your herpes are still there, but we got. If you want to come and see the pharmacist, they said they'll fix it for you because it's the same one that's on his mouth.
And though we're impressed, it's a problem.
Call us back.
Yeah.
Okay, continue.
All right.
We were talking about hooking up the dead motor.
Yeah, so
yeah.
if you're out of control, things are out of control. But let's move on to bugs, snakes, other animals. Anybody have...
I will say one of the things about lack of control is earthquakes are related to that.
Well, let's go...
You have
Okay,
no control over them, what they're going to do.
let's go to that then.
Yeah.
Natural disasters, water, the dark, all those things that you really don't have germs. Another one people have.
Oh,
Water
totally.
after dark.
A friend of ours, Joe, has a huge fear of...
He's going to get mad we said this.
You're right, never mind.
Yeah.
I better not say anything.
We didn't say his last
He's
name.
afraid of nothing.
He's afraid of nothing. He likes everything.
Yeah.
But this other guy I know,
Yeah.
he doesn't
Mo.
like water after dark. And it could be light outside and the water's fine. It could be dark outside, it's fine. But this other guy does not like water after dark. He doesn't cross the bridge. It freaks him out.
Mo Giordano.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
Giuliano,
I
man.
remember when I was in Hawaii when Jaws 2 came out, right after the movie, we went down to the beach and got in the ocean.
Dude.
Just to prove
Just to prove it, see if I can do it.
that we could do it.
Oh, wow. Yeah, well, what about earthquakes? Because I like earthquakes. I mean, they scare me when they start because they startle me, and I hate being startled. I don't know if that's a real fear. I don't like being startled, which is why scary movies...
It's uncontrollable.
Right, and that's probably... And scary. I don't like watching scary movies because I hate the startle factor because it gets me. It freaks me. I went to go...
We were watching Lost World 2. Or Jurassic Park 2, Lost World, and that one scene where they're like, "Oh, the coast is clear," and then all of a sudden,
well, no, I went to see
Velociraptor jumping out at you. Yeah,
I went to see. I was still trying to fight this fear of being startled. I went to see. What was that sci-fi movie where they like went to hell? It was a starship. I can't remember what it was, but it was like a horror sci-fi movie. They opened up this portal to hell, dimension that was like hell.
Oh, jeez.
I said, I'm going to sit there and I'm going to just watch it. I'm not going to hide. And that was the hardest thing I ever had to do, man. I was alone in the theater. Well, there were other people, but I didn't go with anyone. And I was sitting there and I was just watching. I was going to watch. Oh my God, it was so scary. I'm so scared of being startled. I mean, that's huge. But
I don't like being startled. I don't think
it scares. But once it get past the startle part, it's not that big of a deal.
I think too. I want to touch on the earthquakes.
Earthquake. That's what I was like. What were we talking about?
Living here, we've been prepped for earthquakes since we were kids.
Yeah, and we've been through them.
All that we've been through them. Where what to do, how to do, and stuff. Because we've had family come from back east, and we have like a little tiny earthquake, little 4.2, little whatever, and they're like just freaking out. Like this is like the big one.
Well, yeah, and especially to them, it must be so weird. I mean, we felt before the whole ground shaking, which is the most uncontrolled.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no control there when everything is shaking.
Well, because all your walls are moving around.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything is rattling, making noise. Things are falling.
What's your earthquake story? Didn't you like see the floor coming at you?
Yeah, because there's one of the aftershocks that we had from the Whittier earthquake that it was one of our daytime ones. I was sitting on the couch at one end of the house, and things just started shaking in this pretty strong aftershock. And I just remember looking across the house, and the floor's buckling. Ooh. And I could see the far wall way across the house jump a little bit. Then I would see the wall, the closer, jump.
Oh, so you saw the wave coming.
I was just kind of I could see the waves actually going through the house. And it just made me, I just screamed because it was just like, what is this? My house is like jelly all of a sudden. Yeah. It's supposed to be the structure that is safe and protects me, and now it's jumping all around.
Thank God for standards.
Yeah, exactly.
I was playing Trojan, the video game, not the condom, at the time before school with the Whittier quake, and I didn't know what it was.
Practice on a pickle.
Yeah. What? Because the thing is, when you don't know what an earthquake is, you don't realize the noise is what's so scary about it, because everything is shaking. It's so loud. The shaking's scary and things are falling down, but the noise is so loud. It's pretty freaky.
And I think, too, it's very different than other natural disasters in the sense that hurricanes, tornadoes, they're a season.
Hello, and thank you for calling Movie Phone.
And now we wait for...
I can't edit that out.
The booger.
But since you commented on it, we won't. All right, that's fine.
I just was saying hi.
Yes. Welcome to Movie Phone.
Come on, Booger.
The thing is, does he know that this is Joey
he may not know my
him?
number. He probably figured it out.
He answered it the first time.
And who else would be calling, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
He answered the first time.
That's true.
Where was he exactly? Was he like outside in a booth or something?
There was some thing going on with some friends of his.
Please leave your message.
All right. Forget about it.
But yeah, you're right. Earthquakes are very... Yeah. We don't know when they're coming.
The season, like with hurricanes and tornadoes, they're coming. There's warning. So you have time to mentally prepare for it.
It's a double lack of control because you don't know when it's coming, and when it happens, there's nothing you can do.
Another thing about them, because I have to say that I didn't identify my fear of earthquakes as a phobia for years and years and years because, first of all, they didn't happen all that often.
Right, yeah.
But people in my family knew I was afraid of them. The other thing is that it seems easy to rationalize because, I should be afraid of them because when big enough ones happen, there's severe property damage and people lose their lives, and it gets reported all over the news. So you should have a healthy respect for them. And, in our family, we experienced some minor property damage and things like that. So I knew that things got ruined when one was big enough and could potentially hurt us. The other factor is that you have a certain size earthquake, it could be a precursor to an even larger earthquake. That happens commonly. We haven't experienced that with some really big ones around here, but it's a possibility. And then once one happens, you have all these little aftershocks, and they're typically smaller, but they're just as scary. So the thing is, it sets the stage that now that we're in this, now that we just had an earthquake, we're way more likely to have all these aftershocks going on for days or weeks afterwards, and it kind of puts me on edge. And when I finally identified it as a phobia, it was when I was living by myself in Baldwin Park. We had a pretty sizable one, and I started kind of getting a little freaky about it, and felt a not that kind of freaky.
He was getting freaky in the condo.
Earthquakes make me a freaky.
I wasn't playing Trojan at the time.
That was me.
Yeah.
But I got on edge, and I knew it, and There was one. I had to go out to the garage in the middle of the night at one point, and I knew I didn't like having any lights off, even though normally I'm not afraid of the dark or anything. But having an earthquake recently made me afraid of the dark. And when I wanted to go out to the garage, I actually just cracked the door a little bit and flipped the light on, and then swung the door open because I knew like things were bright, and if there was something in there to surprise me, I would be ready for it. And then when I was going, I had to do my laundry out there, so when I was carrying things near my car, I started imagining like hands grabbing me from one of the cars.
Weird.
Like that. And I'm going, okay, so this is way more than just me being afraid of earthquakes. This is a full-on phobia, and I hadn't really identified it that way until then. But the whole thing about being afraid of the dark afterwards, like something was going to leap out and grab me.
Yeah,
and I think
that's common. I think in the dark. I think.
But
only after an earthquake.
But yeah, you're mixing it with the earthquake. That's very interesting.
Yeah. Like I'm fine most of the time. So that's when I realized, okay, this is very irrational, and I think it took me so long to identify because we, like I said, we don't have earthquakes. But every like 4 or 5 years there's a big one.
Yeah,
you know?
Not even that these days.
So I wasn't tested with this very often, and that time I realized it. Then I started thinking, well, how do I deal with it? I think just knowing it's a phobia is a big start to learning how to cope with it.
Yeah.
And the thing that I pinpointed that was so irrational about it is I had given earthquakes some kind of agency, like they're out to get me.
Yeah.
You know, and it was easy for me to visualize not the earth shaking underneath the house, but like monsters pounding the floor from hell or something, you know, like, and then when it's dark, those monsters are going to come out and grab me. Right?
That's weird.
Even though I'm really afraid of aftershocks, it just seemed like I was giving agency to the earthquake in some way that made it.
You're
feel
giving
like,
kind of a central intelligence.
Sorry. So that anyway, that's part of like how I learned to deal with it. Is I just kind of said, well, that's really irrational. I know I can get my head around that and think about it rationally, and then I stopped having so much fear about them. And in smaller earthquakes we've had since then, I deal with them a lot better.
So I think when we have lots of earthquakes, you know, like 3 or 4 a year, back when in the 80s,
back before it was all being built up, because
the 90s.
Listen, this is the future. The big ones happen. We're all go back in time and save us. Tell us right now. Up here now.
We're all dead. And
the big
Booger's
one's
afraid of all
happening
of
is
us.
Universal Studios.
Yeah.
In my pants.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I have no idea what I was saying.
You were saying we get used to them.
Oh yeah, and so that, you know, when it's like we can tell what it is. Like, oh, that's only a 4, and if anything's below a 4, we don't even move.
Even below a 5, you got to hit a 5 for us to even care really at all.
Wasn't there that Steve Martin movie? They're like all the Hollywood types or whatever, and they're
that
all
was LA Story.
Yeah, LA Story, and they're all having their brunch for lunch. Everything else shakes. Let me go back.
That's how
it's like
it is.
nothing.
I think it's a good time to move on to how we deal with earthquakes. Phobias. But
duck and cover.
I want to give a quick earthquake story. I've always experienced the big earthquakes inside the house. And so it's one thing when walls and everything are moving, but I want very much to be outside to see like the world move. I think that would like blow my mind. Yeah. So I kind of set it in my head that the next time we had an earthquake, I was going to run outside so I could be out there. Now, unfortunately, I'm also a teacher, and I'm a teacher to a lot of Latino kids who are from Mexico, who are taught to run out of the building as fast as you can because in Mexico the buildings fall down. But most people in California who run out, thank you, and you run away, get hurt.
I have a phobia of hurricanes.
Yeah, get hurt running out of the building. So I've taught them never to do that. But we had a little earthquake once, and I ran out to the door because I wanted to go outside. I was like, oh, that was a bad example. I was like, don't ever do that.
Yeah.
So anyway, little tidbit there. By the way, guys, you ever see that really wonderful movie Starship Troopers?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Remember when they're talking to the person on the vid phone, and there's like a shadow, and they're like, "Oh, it's getting dark early."
Oh yeah.
And then it's like, and they're gone because that big, huge asteroid destroyed Brazil. How do we know Oklahoma still exists?
Oh crap. But he's in North Carolina.
Yeah.
That's how we know.
Yeah.
You confused the heck out of me. All right.
Oh, I guess Booger's out for this one. So let's move on to how we. Unless you guys want to talk about any of these other fears.
Starship Troopers wasn't that bad.
Nah, it's alright.
Oh,
It was poor Rio de Janeiro.
They're afraid. They're afraid.
yeah, they're afraid. They have phobias.
Yeah.
They're afraid! Thank you, Pierre.
They have pink meaty phobias.
Yeah.
Thank you, P.A.U.L. You saved us all. Now,
That's awesome.
sing a song for me. Okay, so any other fears?
Tears for them.
That you guys want to talk? Here, I got fear of heights, opening, claustrophobia.
Okay, fear of heights. That's another one that I dealt with.
Let's start talking about how you deal with fears.
When I was last year of high school, I worked at Toys R Us, and they had some stock that was way up high, and they had these 12-foot ladders and stuff. So one of the things that I did just to prove to myself, someone needed this one box, and it was really up there. I went up to the top rung of the 12-foot ladder without holding on to anything, grabbed a box off the shelf, and a manager saw me and said, "Don't ever do that again." So, but the thing is that was one moment when I kind of proved to myself that I could cope with it. You know, I didn't let the fear overcome me, and I did something that was honestly pretty stupid and risky, but it kind of helped me get past it.
You know, it's interesting because I don't really have a fear of heights, and sometimes that can be also a liability because I notice for me, like if I'm going up in the rafters in the garage to get something or something like that, it doesn't really bug me that I'm up high because it's almost like for me the level stays where I am. And so I almost have an unhealthy lack of fear because I'm just like, well, I'm on the ground now, even though I'm way up here, because it's like I take the ground with me. You know, and a lot of times I think like, wow, I'm way up. I should be more careful with what I'm thinking about because I just kind of forget that I'm so high up. So I think you have to...
You feel safe in the rafters.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. But maybe I shouldn't because, I mean, we all know, you know, there's a guy we know that we used to work with at the Civic who fell from the rafters in the Civic, and he, I'm sure, worked up there all the time. And
that's part of why I even debate with myself if it's really a phobia of mine. It might just be more
a
like
regular
I have
fear.
a healthy fear because I don't feel vertigo if I overlook a drop,
Right.
like that. But if I feel like I might fall over that drop, then that's when
Okay, you know what scares
Fear
me?
of being stupid.
Yeah, you know what scares me is not so much that I'm gonna fall. I mean, I am a little clumsy, or a lot clumsy, so I know that could happen. So I'm always kind of careful. But there's something about the fact that I can't just jump that kind of scares me. There is a fear there, knowing that what if my inhibitory part of my brain stops working for just a second? Because I know that I could just jump over this and die.
It's like driving down the freeway and knowing you can just like ram somebody. Like,
you could just like
there we go.
Yeah, that's scary. That is scary.
I don't know these guys.
or like if you're in front of a road or something, you're waiting for a bus or something, you can just like jump out in front of the car. It's just so easy.
That's kind of funny because I didn't really think that other people did that very often.
No.
I think that sometimes too, but I never think of doing it. It's always the fact that I could do it.
Well, I remember last year when I was in Dallas, I stayed at this place that had a really huge atrium. And I remember leaning over the edge because I wanted to take a picture. I had that same exact thought. I'm like, I could just jump over this thing and it'd be all over. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I know.
But it's weird.
I think it's natural to think those things when you're in those situations.
Yeah.
And as long as there's not the happening, which reverses that whole
I think
thing.
Yeah, like when you're alone with a
because
guy
then it becomes a twist.
On a couch.
Well, I think I have an interesting like curiosity of experiences. Like I want to know what the experience is like of falling that great distance without the impact. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like the bungee jumper instinct, I guess. Like you want to know what it's like to fall to your death but not die or get injured.
There's people who want to know, and they're insane. They want to know what it's like to kill somebody, and they do it.
Yes,
true.
That's
that
and, some people, they've murdered people just because they wanted the experience of what it's like to actually take a life.
Yeah.
Well, we do know a guy from high school who killed someone.
We do, the trash can killer.
Yeah. Scary. He went to school with us.
Right now, I should probably loop in some old recordings of him, or not. I don't know.
I think he's got a Facebook page, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I thought I saw that somewhere.
Really?
Is it still active?
I don't know.
So this guy who's now known as the trash can killer, he was one of the first people that I jammed with in high school. He was like singing and doing guitar, and I had like a really cheap drum set that sounded like you're banging on plastic frisbees, kind of like. But like I have this tape that I recorded with him and our other friend Fred from Dragonflix.
Bautista.
So we were Fred Bautista, and
what he's doing these days.
so it's just I was thinking about that the other day while I was driving, just how weird it is that I have these like early band recordings with this guy who, has a lot of evidence against him in a murder case. So strange.
He killed his girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Or allegedly.
We'll say allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
And allegedly chopped.
But interestingly, in correspondence
phobia
with
I
him
have.
from some of our other friends, he's never outright denied that he did it either. He just kind of tacitly says things like, I'm on trial right now, I need a lot of support, but never has said, like, I'm innocent, I never did it. Which doesn't mean that he's guilty, but it's interesting.
Fear of criminals. Fear of going to jail.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a big fear of going to jail.
For Pretty Paul.
For Pretty Paul. Because I know if I ever went to jail, I'd end up being some dude's bitch.
Yep, that's true.
So I'd be a ramming...
Ramming.
He'd be a TCHS rammer.
Ramming speed.
There's Paul. Ramming speed.
Yeah.
So,
It's the Shawshank Redemption.
Yes, how do you overcome these fears?
And Kail, actually, I think this is a good time for you to hop in, because you, I know, do a lot of things to overcome not necessarily phobias, but fears.
Yeah.
You want to talk about it?
Well, virtual reality is something that's really helped a lot of people overcome phobias.
True, yeah.
They actually have programs where they have people who are afraid of spiders, and they have them so far away they can't identify them. Then they slowly bring them forward, and eventually, in a very short period of time, like a couple of sessions, they've got spiders walking on their shoulders. It's really effective.
And it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, it'd be great if you could cure me from my fear, but I don't know if I want to be cured, because then there'll be spiders there, and I know I won't be afraid of them, but I am now, so I don't want that to be happening to the future me.
I could see that.
But with my insect phobia, I know that it used to be that certain pictures of insects, I would be like, that's too much to look at. I don't even want to look at them. But I haven't dealt completely with the whole idea of touching bugs and things like that, but at least looking at them and stuff, I'll photograph spiders and things if I find big ones in my yard and all that. And I'm not...
Yeah, that freaks my wife out, by the way, when you put those up on Facebook.
I think those are awesome.
Yeah. She's like, oh my god!
Well, this is one of the things that was kind of like a test for it. Is one time this bigger than average spider was hanging outside my bedroom window, and I was taking some flash photos of it with my camera. And Christine was there, and she's all like, it would be a really good angle if you took one from underneath it. And I'm all like, oh no, because I know I can do it, but if it happened to fall on me during that time,
oh my god! Yeah.
But I did it anyway, and it's one of the best photos I've ever gotten, because the spider's straight on the web, and you can actually see its eyes and everything in the photo.
Yeah, it's a great photo.
Which reminds me, that same classroom where I gave a bad example.
Link it in the show notes
of that same example of how that same classroom where I did the bad example of how not to act in an earthquake. I came in one morning to my class after a weekend, and I was about to sit in my chair, and I see something out of the corner of my eye before I just usually flop down in it. And there's a web going from the top of my chair across the front of my chair to the desk, and it's full of hundreds of baby spiders.
Oh!
So had I not seen it out of the corner of my eye, I would have sat right in those baby spiders. They would have been all freaking over me. And I would have screamed like a little girl, because that's what you do when there's baby spiders running all over you.
That's the weird thing, too, is that size. Like, if I had ants crawling on me, no problem.
Yeah,
they're not big enough.
Well,
like, maybe baby spiders, I wouldn't...
No, baby spiders would still freak me out.
Okay.
But but it's that same type of thing, though. It's for you, it's size, though. But just for me, the idea.
And for Paul too, his jail phobia.
Yeah, size really fears me out. Totally scares me. Another fear I'd bring up is maybe not a total fear, but maybe possible fears. Like when I was thinking about, I knew Connor was going to be born cesarean, so I knew that there's a possibility I'd see blood and I can see the insides of Heather and whatever. Right. Well, the inside of her stomach. And
something exciting and new.
So
I always thought of the stories of people who see this type of stuff and throw up or pass out and stuff.
That has a really wrong connotation, Joey.
Sorry.
So when I was sitting there talking to her and the guy says, "Oh, I can see the reflection," I made myself go up to see it, because I thought, when am I ever going to see this again?
That's a good point.
This is the only time I'm going to see it. I either do it now or who knows? I hope I never see someone's guts open and stuff.
Yeah.
But this was a controlled
That's a
situation.
good-
So I want to see it, and I saw
way.
the reflection, and I just like went up, and I'm like, oh, not so bad. And it was fine.
That's actually a good way to deal with things like that, because there are things you're not going to know how you're going to deal with until they happen. And and that's a perfect example. Like, I never got the whole blood phobia or whatever.
Well, earlier, like I said,
That doesn't bug
the
me.
first step is to identify a phobia.
Yeah.
Then I think the first step of dealing with it is to confront it.
Right.
Because there is the
Well, that's part of
possibility
the
you don't...
desensitization, and that's what
Yeah,
really gets
yeah.
rid of phobias, desensitization.
And, there's a possibility that you may not know some of the phobias you have because you got them when you were too young, or maybe they are entirely genetic.
Or you're not exposed to
You haven't
those things
yeah.
often enough.
Yeah.
You haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole needle and blood thing, it's never bothered me, but, I know some people, there's this guy I know who doesn't like needles, and, no matter what it is, he hates needles. This guy. And...
I'm not fond of being stuck with a needle either, actually.
But, there's people who, like, faint or at the sight of a needle, or if they see blood, it's like, ugh,
Strangely enough, though, there was one time I had the little tetanus test where they put it just under your
underneath?
skin, and then they'd blow up that bubble.
Right.
And the thing that got me about it was they said, "Now don't touch it." And I got this like bubble.
yeah.
So I got it was a second story
Yeah.
doctor's office. So I got in the elevator, and as I was going down to the first floor, I just couldn't take my eyes off it. I kept looking at it, and I wanted to probe it. I'm like,
I've got to get it!
so like I take 2 steps out of the elevator, and things start going red, and I hear static. And so I slumped over on a couch in the waiting room, like came dang close to passing out.
Wow.
On that one. But that was like a one-time thing.
Because you couldn't touch
I think it was basically, it was bugging me so much that there was
Wow.
something under my skin, and they
Wow.
said specifically,
Don't touch it. Wow.
And I'm like, I want to get it out, though, like, so,
Well,
yeah,
if
it
somebody
was
tells you
weird.
not to do something, you want to do it more.
Yeah, exactly. So that was an interesting kind of one-time thing. But still, even if they have to, like, take blood or whatever, I don't like that too much. But
I was,
deal with it.
I think we're kind of in the same area here. We're talking about fears, but we're also talking about phobias, and I think we've all had to battle our fears at one point or another. I remember in high school, junior, senior year, battling fear was my big thing. Like I loved the no fear, was the big thing out of the t-shirts or whatever, just because I wanted to fight my fears so bad. And I think I was probably the bravest in my life at that time because, it's a very uncertain time, and a lot of it was for me was social phobias, but it was still the type of thing that actually, when I fought those fears, my senior year was one of the best years ever because I was at that point able to talk to people and I didn't care what they thought about me, and a lot of my social phobias went away because I had fought them so vehemently. Thank you, Kail. Yeah. That's exactly it, and it was a good thing. So I think that fighting our fears, like you said, identification is important first, but then the next most important step is actually, as you said, desensitizing yourself. But you've got to put yourself in the situation, and it's easier when someone pushes you, but it's a lot harder when you try to do it for yourself. And a lot of times with fears, you have to do it on your own, and that's the tough part.
It is.
But you can work on things with someone you trust also.
Yeah, that's true.
Another factor in there. So
It'll probably help you get over it quicker if someone helps you.
I think trying to impress a girl makes you pretty brave too.
All right, that was
like,
me.
Daryl, go under that spider and take a picture. Okay, dear.
Yeah.
That worked.
I was just scared to talk to a girl.
Never underestimate
That's
wanting to impress a girl.
That's society. That's just human nature, society, and stuff.
Talking about another spider experience. There was one time I was going around the side of the house
this episode.
with it.
Yeah.
It was dark, and
Just don't
as
have
I
a
was
look at the
walking,
show notes.
as I was walking around the corner of the house where there's basically no light, I saw a little tiny glint of something, and I'm like, "Is that a spider web?" So I pulled out my little LED flashlight from my from my keychain, and I basically shined it, and some spider had built this web right across the walkway between the two houses. And this big spider, like right at eye level, is just sitting there. This like really giant
smashed into it.
Yeah, I would have put my face in it.
That's a creepy feeling when you walk into a spider web because it's like you don't know where it is.
It's over here. It's over here. But I'd also like. It's over here. I'd also like to take. I'd also like to take from Brian Regan's comedy, stand-up comedy, that nobody looks more stupid than someone who runs into a spider web. Because it's like, oh god, and nobody else sees the web, so it's just they see you going. Ah! Is it up? There's something wrong with that guy over there.
Do you think before Spider-Man fought crime, he just pranked people?
Hey, watch this. This is gonna be really
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're about wrapping it up. Anybody want to bring... my biggest fear right now is what the hell happened to Booger?
I know.
What the hell happened to this podcast?
We're thinking of you.
All right, we're calling him back.
All right, this
Last
is it.
chance.
One last
Everybody think
chance.
good thoughts make Booger appear.
What is this? The secret?
Magallanes.
Oh, it's not even ringing this time.
You're not thinking hard enough, Paul! Damn it, it's your fault! Oh, dude, you left a deuce.
Okay.
What the deuce?
What the dude?
Yeah, I don't think anything's
I'm
happened.
telling you, South Carolina's gone.
No, North Carolina.
Damn it! Whatever!
The whole Eastern Seaboard is gone.
So Joey, how come when you say South Carolina or by mistake or whatever, you sound like an ancient prospector?
South Carolina! Hey, man, go down to South Carolina! There's a big meteor in the sky and it's coming down to Oklahoma! Oh, yeah! What you gonna do when the largest arms of the world
you need
destroy?
Okay, right now. Little Thunder Railroad, go.
Howdy! Hang on to your hats, class! Because this here's the wildest ride in the universe! No, wait, that's Back to the Future ride! Biff Tannen saved me from the universe, saved me from Biff Tannen! I don't know! Woo!
Four in the front, four in the back.
You know what I mean. Yeah.
That's the new version of the Matterhorn.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Ooh.
What?
Okay.
Okay, so are we at an hour? No.
Yeah.
We're not
past
at an hour.
We're past an
Yeah.
hour.
I was gonna say I'm feeling an hour.
So before we
Little hour
dude,
crazy.
I got
before we
like
go, what are we going to
swamp
talk
ass.
about next week?
Yes. Yeah. So
Yeah,
let's
just
close up fears. Any other fears anybody wants to talk about before we go?
Or what? Fine.
Fear of not
I have
having
no
anything
fear
to
of
say.
it.
No.
Fear
Well-
of having too much to say.
Well, everybody out there in podcast land, we have a new way we're going to be doing things. After our 10th episodes anniversary, yay, anniversary! Woo! What we're going to do now is that every
10
week a person will be able to choose the topic for next week, and will shock and surprise us during the end of the podcast to tell us what next week's episode will be about. So this week it's going to be Booger. Go!
I'd be shocked and surprised.
Oh wait, no, that's not right.
We're gonna talk about
No,
the
that already
silence.
happened.
That already happened.
Oh, wait.
So
It's going to ring this time. Or not. Hey, listen to that. We've got ringage.
well, why doesn't he call us back? Like, I'm a little worried
Put a
about
ring
him.
on it.
That's true.
Like, he should have called us back.
Here he uses minutes.
All the singularities.
All the singularities.
All right.
Did we
Booger's
go into
out.
a war or something? Did he have to go?
They called him in.
He got
Never
deployed
know,
in the middle of the
DEFCON
podcast.
4 or
Yeah, I
something
know.
like that.
Miracle Mile
Oh,
type
to
thing.
DEFCON 1.
just
Oh my
got a
God.
You just got a call.
The Russians have fired
I
already.
would hope that he texted us a warning first.
I know.
Yeah, that would be good.
Well, his phone doesn't text. That's why we always have to call.
Just a little. Hey guys, nukes are coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Gotta go. Bye.
See ya.
Okay, so
It's like,
actually,
I hope that pizza arrives before the ICBMs.
so Kail is actually going to be the choice for next week. So Kail already has a choice for us. And Kail, what will we be talking about next week?
Next week will be future transportation.
Oh my God!
All right, like the 2014 Fords.
Yeah, there you go. A little beyond that, maybe just a little farther
Awesome.
than that.
Like driverless
robotic
car.
Are you talking
vehicles.
about?
Oh!
Are we talking about G.I. Joe transportation?
Yeah.
Battle Force 2000.
Yeah.
Secret Force G.I. Joe.
I mean, is it going to be land-based, air, sea, space?
All of them.
All of them.
Future transportation, pretty
Awesome.
broad. We can talk about what
think
we
that's
want.
good.
We'll set up the show notes.
Is there anything we should watch or any homework?
Now, what would be a good movie to go with future transportation?
Train spotting. I don't know.
Planes, trains, that's not fair.
iRobot.
Oh no!
Because he
The new,
Demolition Man.
the new
G.I. Joe.
Arnold Schwarzenegger was in the old Total Recall.
Total Recall.
The new Total Recall. Remember the vehicles in that?
Oh, yeah.
There were some awesome vehicles in that. It's out on DVD, isn't it? By now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So let's do it. If you can get it,
The new Total
the new
Recall.
Total Recall.
You're all like,
I was doing Running Man, but I was like, no,
I
Arnold
was expecting him to
Schwarzenegger.
start going first syllable, first word.
it's Joe
Okay,
Charles.
so next week we're going to talk about modern vehicles, and then let's have Paul or who wants to go for next week to choose a topic for the week after.
Maybe we'll just go like
This one? Okay.
All
right.
Paul, so you need to have a topic ready. Don't tell us till next week.
We don't
next
always
week.
sit in the
Yep.
same order anyway, but
We do. Yeah.
It's usually about this.
So we'll go Paul, Joey, me.
Okay, that's good because then we'll go back to Booger because he picked this one.
All right.
All right, everybody. Well, we thank you for joining us on tonight's podcast about Phobia 010 Ramble 10. Thank you from Joey Schammel.
Paul Hottinger.
And where can we find
And where can we
Yeah,
find
where can we
you,
find
Paul?
you?
I forgot about that. I'm Joey Schammel, and you can find me at www.imramblin.com. Yeah!
And I'm Paul Hottinger, and you can find me at heyitspaul.com.
I'm Kail Anderson. You can find me at romsrants at blogspot.com.
I'm Gerald Jors, and you can find me at jors.com, Giors.
And I'm Booger Magallanes, and you can find me at the bottom of a crater in South Dakota.
North Carolina! We're bringing a map for Booger.
Thank you, and have a good
We
week.
need a map of the U.S. in our war room.
I'm a teacher! Damn it.
Yes. Our email address.
Oh, yeah, sorry. If you want to reach us, you can contact us at show@iamrambling.com or put any of our names in front, and you can email us individually. And, thanks.
Awesome.
That's about it.
You come from I
hope we didn't scare you away from podcasting.
Everyone's got a phobia podcast.
Thanks for listening. You can now stop screaming at the open air. Listeners should put their minds back in their upright positions and resume traditional thinking. Find us on IamRambling.com for access to all of our weekly ramblings, show notes, general discussions, and any projects from Incoherent Ramblings. Like us on Facebook and rate us on iTunes. So long, and thanks for all the fish.